the question that I asked yesterday was regarding my experience here so far. There was a point in my time living here when I realized that my intentions and my motivations for coming here weren't exactly totally altruistic or pure, and that I had a lot of a great amount of excitement and hurriedness, kind of rushness in wanting to ordain. And I see just from living here and speaking with the community that motivation won't sustain a long ordained life, that won't that I have to change my motivation in order to cultivate a strong that I have to change my motivation in order to have a long-term ordained life. I can't exactly think of the right way to say it. And since you all have been nuns for so long, I was wondering about what kinds of motivations and intentions are helpful in sustaining a long-term monastic life.
I'm not sure I have the answer, but I would like to share my own experience. I believe many of you have heard of this already, but I can repeat it. No charge. Okay. When I was young, I was raised in a Catholic family. The reason was because of my mom. My mom was given up for adoption after birth because of the fortune telling. She was predicted to be harmful to her parents, something like that. So my mom kind of related fortune telling with Buddhism. So she was her life or her fate was hurt or changed because of superstitions held by the Buddhists. So also her adopted mom was said to be quite devoted. In a way, she sometimes take vegetarian meals and go pilgrimage, but she will tell people, "Oh, here is the mosquito, and I'm a Buddhist. Go." And she will encourage somebody to kill the mosquito. She herself know what not to misdeeds, not to commit those, but those others doesn't matter to her. Something like that. And I remember another, my mom's complaint was, her mom was very, she had tutor in the house and to teach her pianos. But after the teachers left, she would lock the piano and would not let my mom to learn and to pray. So my mom was resentful. So my mom's experience, she kind of link every practice, her mom's behavior to Buddhism. She kind of feels she is devoted, she is creating merit for herself, she wants to educate herself to be a better person, but only for herself, very self-centered. So when she grew up, one of her decisions was to change religion. So she turned to Catholicism. So the entire family was raised in Catholicism. So why you talk about this?
You want to talk about how you have a long-term motivation to be.
Okay, so I was raised, growing up in a church. So, thank you. I saw so many churchgoers coming in and out, and I kind of observed them quietly. I observed the fathers and the nuns, and I kind of sitting there and making comparison. And I see, I kind of envision those people 25 or 35 years ago when they were not married and they were not ordained, what they looked like. And I couldn't tell much difference between the two. But 20 years or 30 years after, I can tell. I can tell the priest, the father, the nuns, the monastic, they are, or I should say, the lay people, after 25 years of marriage or 30 years of marriage, even when their hair turn white, turn gray, they when they get up to bus, they are doing that in a hurry because they want to occupy a space, and they also want to create extra space for her friend or her family member. So they're very busy. But I see the father. They have no family, no saving, nothing. But they were so ready to open up their hands and help others, help those they are not related to them. So I can see, I kind of tell myself, before they make that choice, does not have much quality difference between them. But the two different way of lifestyle, although both of them are very difficult, full of difficulties, but you can see the end result. You can see a very clear result 20, 25 or 30 years after. So I kind of tell myself, if I have a choice, I would like to become a nun. That's how I make that decision. It's because that observation. But after I make that, I have that thought, I kind of turn around and ask myself, why a person want to become a nun? Why do they want to become a monastic? So I try to figure out what is the reason. I could not by myself. So the whatever reason I managed to have is kind of, it's not a direct answer, but it's indirect. Indirect in a way, I said to myself, a person should not become a nun just because they do not want to have a family. That kind of motivation is not good. In my mind, I think their motivation should be more holy. It's not something you don't like. As a result, you choose something you like. So I think I also thought the answer is a person should not become a nun just because she's devoted to the Creator God. Because you don't need to be a nun to serve your God. You can be anyone. A very good teacher, very good doctor, or whatever you do, if you have that motivation, you can serve a lot of people, also serve the God. So I keep searching. And I remember in high school, one of my teacher has a miscarriage. So few of us went to a hospital to visit her. And that teacher has a history. She and her boyfriend have a long-term relationship, but her family member was against her husband, boyfriend, because he's a mainlander. I don't know whether you are familiar with. Yeah. Okay, so the lady was born in Taiwan, and that gentleman was from mainland China, with no family, no saving, no nothing. So usually they're reluctant to marry their daughter to such kind of. So the relationship was prohibited for 8 years. So finally, she has that courage to get married, but in the court. So all the people attending the wedding were there. Both of them are teachers, so were their students. So when I went to see my teacher, and she kind of said to us how she made that decision. She said, a person, when you grow up, it is natural to have a family. Natural. So I said to myself, that means my direction for my life is counter-natural. It's different from all the norm is they get education, they get good job, they find the right person, and to have family, to have business, something like that. So I guess I get the bits and pieces about what is not the right motivation, until in my freshman years, I attended. Or the sophomore years, I attended a camp, a Buddhist camp for six weeks, and I remember. I think during that 6 weeks, I was sleeping all the time. I feel so drowsy. So all the teaching going on, but I feel sorry for myself. Couldn't have a clear mind, or clear, spirit. But one day I was wandering to the library, and I saw a saying, and when I saw that saying, I immediately realized that was the answer for the question in my mind for 10 years. I have that thought when I was in 5th grade. So for 10 years, I realized that is the reason I'm looking for. And that statement says, Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha is our ultimate refuge. So in a way, I realized the reason why I want to become a nun is finding a refuge for my life and for all the sentient beings, to find the right direction for yourself and find the right direction for all other sentient beings. I think that at that time, that was the answer. I kind of very happy, although I feel guilty about being behaved very bad in that camp. And another thing also happened that strengthened my conviction, I would say. That happened also before I was a junior in college. And because I had this thought of becoming a Catholic nun. So the more I learn Buddhism, the more I meditate, and I kind of realized this is very good, very logical, and make much sense to me. then so I have a conflict. What should I do? So the first compromise I had was I will become a Catholic nun for this life, but next life. First, I have to kind of, because something I said to myself, if I don't do it, I can't feel I'm not honest to myself. So the first compromise was, okay, I will do it sequentially. Okay, so this life, but next life I will be a Buddhist nun. But one day something happened, kind of solved my dilemma. That thing is when we in Buddhism we talk about cause and effect. So I said to myself, if I become a nun, that it is a result, and that result proves in the past I have a cause or a seed in the past. That seed ripens. So right now I have another seed to become a Buddhist nun. And theoretically, if I take care of this new seed and nurture it, water it, give it fertilized, and ignore the previous seed, theoretically, the new seed can ripen in this lifetime. So when I figure it out, it's very liberating, because I would like to make that an experiment. And that's how I become a nun. And so I said to myself, if I have to prove I'm wrong, and I have to exhaust all the Buddha's teaching and have the failed result to prove that is not correct. And my original is correct. So that's my experience, step by step. Yes. Yeah. What's your question? I'm translator.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so she doesn't have to tell everything about her life, but focus on the answers to the questions.
Okay. 你可不可以说一下你人生怎么样做你要出家的决定？
我觉得你帮我翻译啊。
好，你要。
我觉得是说，我觉得是说，不是为了出家而出家，或者人家跟你说你要出家，出家很出家，而是说你要先学习佛法，你要先认识佛法，然后思维佛法里面所说的，然后佛法里面会针对整个你的那个这条路要这个怎么引导到你人生的那个追求的是什么？那是什么？你要追求什么？是我们不要追求，那个会说得很清楚。当你一直思维，你得到一个肯定的时候，你那个力道真的很强，因为这是最好的一条路。那你不用别人push，你自己就会选择它，也不用那很多困难你也都能够面对。所以你一定要先学习佛法，不学习佛法的话，这样的力量很浅，不够。
So, as I see it, one does not become a monastic just because one want to become a monastic, or one become a monastic because a lot of people encourage you to do that. And I feel it is important for us to learn the Dharma, because in the Dharma it give you a very detailed analysis about the path and what is the benefit and what is the disadvantage of the worldly life. And so it is very clear. And if you learn the Dharma and understand it correctly, you will know that is the way. And you don't need someone else to push you. You will go that direction. Yeah.
I never learned Buddhism before I went to college. And when I was in my high school, first year high school, I went to my sister's house, and very suddenly I got a message from my home and said that my mother had a she had
High blood pressure.
no, something.
Stroke.
A stroke, and I rushed back, but it's too late. She has been dying, so after 3 days, she was dead. And I was so regretful and so sorry, because how I went to high school is totally because of the encouragement from my mother. So I have no way to think about how can I to do anything feedback or return for all the things my mother had done for me. So I began to think about what would be the difference between one is living and another one is dying. And it seems to be there is a big difference between the one was living and dying. So I saw the answer from everywhere, from Taoian, from Catholic people, from Christian, but no one can answer me. And I want to know how can I do something to thank my mother for the last 16 years. She has done so much for me. And I think at the second year of my college, I began to learn Buddhism, and I began to understand even your family member, your relatives, your loved ones pass away, you still can do something for her if you really are practice Buddhism, and even you have done very little, very little, just gradually, just a little progress, but you still can do something good for the one you loved, even she has been passed away. And this is really a very, very big comfort for myself, because I have been so disappointed. I could not do anything for my mother because she was dead. But from that on, I understand I could do something for her. So after the college, I went to junior high school to teach. And for that 2 years, I was very, very diligent to teach students. But I find that's not the way I really like, because I just teach and I just do something good for students. And after every year, the kids just went away and then never saw anything special for you, because they just want to get the knowledge from you, then went to high school, then get a degree. And I think that's not the way I really want to be a person. So I began to think about maybe I can seek a professional career like a religious person, like my master. So I went back to my master to ask her, can I be a professional religious person, just like her and like other senior Sangha? And she said, yes, you can, as long as you really want to be such kind of person. And I began to be very serious about my future career. And after 2 years of consideration, I decided to be a person to enter the monastic monastery and to learn from other senior sisters, because I think that is very meaningful for me to help other people like me. When I was very young, I was so disappointed. I was so anxious. I really want to know who can help me with my life, with my so sad. But the only one who can help me is from Buddhism, because it told me the life not stop here. There will be the next life and next life. And if you can help yourself to achieve the life this time, you can also help other people to get improved in their life. So that's the way I thought about myself. I want to be a person to help other people like me when I was very young, and as I think that's very meaningful. I did not reject the happiness of marriage, but I think that kind of life is more meaningful for me than others, and that's the way I went to the monastic life. And I want to tell you the motivation for me to be to endure to be a monastic, because I want my life to be more meaningful, to help other people, and to thank my mother, because when I provide my life for a monastic life, I can make my life more useful, more meaningful. For me, this is more than other ways to say thank you to my mother. I think that's the reason I want to be a monastic. Okay.
You want to share? Oh, okay. So how to maintain the motivation over time. So I won't go into the motivation of why I ordained, but how to maintain it over time. I think the key is realizing that our dukkha, our suffering, comes from our own mind. And when you're ordained and then, difficulties come up and you don't get what you want and people criticize you and, all the usual stuff, to remember that no matter where I am or what I do, that same stuff's going to happen. Yeah, so it's like the dog with the fleas. The dog gets up and goes across the courtyard thinking they're leaving the fleas behind, but the fleas come with. So I realized that, the cause of everything is within me. And so doing anything else is going to be like taking my fleas with me. It's not going to solve my problems, because the problems are in here. They're not with the environment. And until I really sit down and deal with what's in here, the same old things are going to keep happening. So that's, I think, one thing that helped me maintain the ordination over a long period of time. Because what else am I going to do? Take my fleas here, there, everywhere? Yeah, the Dharma tells you how to get rid of your fleas, so I might as well stay put and get rid of my fleas. Yeah. Lynn, you had something?
I don't know. Excuse me. Oh, yeah, right. Okay. I don't know how long you've been in the United States, but you have the perspective of having practiced Buddhism in one culture, one type of Buddhism, and then now being here in the United States. So the question would be, what would be the one thing that you feel Western Buddhist practitioners are doing very, very well? And what is the one thing that you offer a lot of merit toward hoping that the Western Buddhists can overcome?
Sister Genty stayed here longer than both of us. So you answer this question.
Was Western Buddhists did well?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
okay.
what you hope they can improve on.
What
and
is
overcome.
good, what is not good.
Okay. I admire. I think when we were learning Buddhism, we have a lot of teachers, a lot of temples, a lot of fellow practitioners, and here you are kind of, as I said, countercurrent. You are not the mainstream, and so in a way, individual in the West need to be very clear in the mind. You are learning Buddhism not out of reaction to your old religion. It's kind of open up yourself. You find something suited for you, suited to your needs, but you also recognize you still benefit tremendously from your old religion, and you hold the gratitude and respect to the original religion, and also those practitioners. So I admire Westerners. They have those courage. To continue despite so little support, and I think that is wonderful. But I also want to see something improve. I remember seeing a lot of people kind of admired how come Asian country they have so many support, they have so many, their community is so well organized, and it's hard to know the real reason, but I think the more practical thing is, if you want something to happen, you make it happen. You need to plant the seed. For example, I generally I feel that the Tibetan system, the reincarnate when they come back again, and they have a lot of support system there. They were recognized. They will get special education, and they kind of a lot of people were watching or guiding them. But if you analyze the causes, you might realize that individual in the past has helped support a lot of people to get that result. If you want to have good teachers, and you need to help others, trying to be helped, to teach others. So by planting that seed, in the long run, when you are in need, you have people will appear and guide you. And I think something, make it happen instead of wanting someone to come to help you. Of course, that will be a plus. But something, if we want something to happen, and we have to make it happen. For example, I remember meeting people from Eastern Europe and saying, we don't have monastic in my country. And I said to them, be one. Yeah, don't expect others monastic to come your country, but if you want your country to have monastic, be one. Yeah, and I think if you want to become one, you have to let go a lot of your personal attachment, personal pursuit, because you are bringing the Dharma to a new land, and you need to be courageous, and you need to kind of transform yourself, because your view is wider, longer, and you are doing a lot of things for yourself and also for a lot of people who are in need of this. Yeah, that's what in my mind. 你好像是什么？
因为那个 因为语言的关系哈，所以我实质的接触到，就是实质的跟这样狗讲话的因缘不是很多，但是透过那个就是报章啊什么资料哈，我知道或者之前的认识哈，我知道，西方人的那个逻辑思考、推理思考这方面很好，这一点是学习佛法很好的一个优势哈，因为佛法讲的是实观，就是你真正的去看到这一件事情的实相、事件的实相，所以这个有助于学习佛法，是很好的一个很好，这是你们很大的优点，可以这么学的哈。然后我分享一个我听到的一个开示哈，跟你们分享结语，就是 OK。
I have, because of language barrier, I have very little chance to encounter, first-hand experience with Westerners. But what I have is second-hand through magazines, through media. I notice Westerners, they are very logical. And I think have a rational, logical mind is a very good quality, because in Buddhism, it encourage people to see reality, the ultimate reality, and you need that very rational, very logical mind to do that. And I kind of feel the Westerners are blessed to have this quality. And also, I want to share a personal experience with you.
这是我听过的一个开始，我觉得也是有关我们西方人学习佛法一个很好的优点的一个开始哈，就是大概几年前那个第17世大宝法王他到西雅图来，他有做一个就是大众的开示哈，那他说曾经讲到一个一个很好玩的一个事情啊，就是他说很多西方人就问他说佛法里面都讲要修观啊，要观想啊，那个要观想啊，就是你学习佛法到最后要修止修观，要观想，那观想是什么啊？我们都不知道这样。那时候大宝法王很幽默的他说其实你们很会观想啊，就是怎么说呢，你如果去迪士尼乐园你去看看你就知道了，因为你们不只会观想你们还要把所观想的变成具体的呈现出来，你们是很适合修观的，你们很适合学习佛法的。
A few years ago, 17 Karmapa went to Seattle, and he gave a public talk, and he said in the talk, many Westerners asked him how to do visualization. And so the 17 Karmapa kind of jokingly replied, and actually Westerners are very good at visualization. If you go visit Disneyland, you will see how good their imagination and their visualization is. Not only mental, they are very good in terms of actually materialize that. So in a way, Westerners are very are equipped with this talent to practice Buddhism.
你一定要回答。
可以多一点。
对。I don't have a lot of opportunities to work or practice with Westerners, but I have some experience from my observation. Some Westerners in New York became a monk or nun, then went to a Chinese tradition, and then gradually they find the Chinese tradition was so different from the lifestyles in Western world. So they began to think, this is not what I want. And I doubt this person want to be a nun or a monk or want to be a traditional a monk or nun. I think if you, as a Westerner, want to pursue a religious career, she or he has to think about what the real purpose of pursuing such a career. So this person had to pursue a way like the Buddha said is a middle way. It's not because the first sight you saw a monk and I think, oh, he is a great monk, is so famous, so I have to follow him or follow her. Then I gradually find this is not the one I want, even he is so famous. So I would suggest there is a middle way, is another from the individualism, then jump to the very traditional way. But after just a moment, you just renounce everything, then go back to the original way. There needed something to adjust, and little by little. And we had some guests from Western, from USA, from Australia, from Germany. And these people went to Taiwan, and they asked, they have the uniform like ours. They said, this is so beautiful, I like yours. But after they get back to Germany, they will not wear this, or they go to Australia. And I've been, every culture has something different, and different lifestyle. So I would suggest not to pursue so strict, but not completely follow the original way in your world. You go something in the middle way, like we in a monastery, we get up in the morning 4:30 or 5. But now I live in city. I was so busy. I have to work from 9 to 9, 12 hours. I could not get up in 4:30, so I get up in 6, but I still work 12 hours. So, but I ask myself, I request myself, I don't eat breakfast. Only when I do my morning practice. So if I do my morning practice at 10, so I eat after 10. That's my insist, okay. And so if you go to any monastery or meditation center, don't go so fast. Just go to the middle way and try to adjust yourself little by little, then to at some point, that's following the Buddha's way, I think the best. That's from my very, very, very few experiences, but that's my true suggestion. Okay.
Yeah, I think our inquisitiveness and our, the use of reasoning and intelligence is really important and is one of our strong points. I also think that that same thing can take us away from the Dharma, because we get involved in all sorts of conceptualization that and theories about this and that, and go around in circles instead of really practicing. So I think the same thing, if we use it wisely, it can be very beneficial, and if we don't, can really take us away. I think another thing that would be helpful for Westerners to develop is really a very strong belief in karma and its effects. Because if you have that view of cause and effect, not just in this life, like you go to work and you get money, but the karmic view of cause and effect, that our actions matter. They have an ethical dimension. They not only produce results now, but they produce results in future lives. And so having that view that goes beyond this lifetime, I think is quite important to keep people going. Yeah, because I think you find a lot in the West, people get enthusiastic about the Dharma in the beginning, and they want to change immediately, and they don't, and then they go, where's my quick fix? And when you have an understanding of karma and its effects, you realize that things are going to take a while, and you have to put in energy and over time and completely establish new habits. And so that gives you a lot more patience and fortitude with your practice to continue, instead of, I want something quickly and, I didn't get it. Yeah. Other questions?
Yesterday in our meeting, you spoke about that the 30 years you had a lot of experiences where you also had to kind of cry. It was very painful. But these were tears, they had the result of happiness. And I wonder, maybe you would like to give an example how it looks like, because when you have, for example, family and a job and so on, then maybe you experience pain, tears, because you lose your job, or you have not enough money, or your child gets sick, or not in a spiritual sense. So you have different experiences. Would you like to share something? Okay. This one works.
I have a lot of experience after being a nun. Before I was a nun, my teacher was very kind, very gentle to me. But after that, she changed. She was not patient at all, and she gave me a very short instruction and expecting me to know what to do and to do it well. So I got a lot of scold by being not careless, and my teacher was not so dedicated or something. She scolded me in front of people. A lot of people. So that made me very, hurt. You devote yourself, you provide service, but you do not get praise, and you get, on the contrary, she was always remembering your mistakes, and so I think I cried a lot because I kind of feel I was not valued, or was not accepted, or I was inferior. I was bad. I was not fit. A lot of self-doubt, but those tears will bring back to why I was crying and what is the thing my teacher was saying, and I realized I remember most of the thing I remember is she said very harshly, and she would say very directly. She would say something in front of people, and I could not say much about what she does. What does she say? I remember all the thing of how she say it. And I realized that is, once I realized I put the emphasis in the wrong place, and I start to grow. I was not so easily intimidated or being influenced by how she say it. And I know she's telling me something I I did was not good or not right or need to be improved. So I kind of feel her whatever she said or she did out of very compassionate motivation. So I guess that a lot of tears bring to that realization. That's one thing. Okay.
他是什么？他是问你的。
You are directing the question to one only? No. I just go ahead, just to give you some time to prepare. You want to say something? 不要帮我开关。
出家之后呢，真的是你要学习，因为出家不是指出家之后你就是要有一个愿哈，就是要学习做一个宗教师。好，宗教师就是不是只为你个人的修行解脱而已，你希望你能够突破你自己个性上很多的不圆满的地方，然后才能够利益更多的众生，更多的大众。所以在这个点上面呢，就会有很多挑战。就是其实我之前的个性非常非常的内向，我真的很不喜欢在大众中坐在前面这样子。那我刚出家的时候，我师父呢就是专门要我们突破自己的这个性格上的有限哈，所以我记得我刚出家没有很久，我就领了一个指示，一个大殿的指示哈。那这个工作呢，就是必须要站在一个法会的时候，你要站出来，跟信众带着大家怎么一场的共修。那平常呢，可能小小的20个人、30还可以，但是我记得最大一次挑战就是有一年过农历年的时候，那是一个正月初9，我们一年里面最大一次法会。那个法会呢，大概是有1000人吧，1000人。那一大早5点开始要斋天，那时候我真的吓坏了，我那一次真的是失败了，我就是一个什么预言，我就借故躲进去，我没有出来带领那一堂共修。那是很困难，那真的是失败的一次经验。但是呢，就是一次一次这样。等到那一个早上，那是3天的共修，那个共修之后，那个斋天之后，后面有连续3天，然后3天人比较少，我再跑出来，所以我是这样。这是有很多很多你要突破你自己。那因为我们像在这个我们那个团体哈，我们比较走这个文教弘法的路线。那我师父也是我每一个人都要站出来，好当一个老师，把你所学习到的佛法跟所有的居士学习，这个呢都是很大挑战。我师父常常说，你就是要逼你上去，你如果在台上昏倒了，我们再把你抬下来，就是这样子。
Being a monastic is to become a spiritual practitioner, and being a spiritual practitioner is not for individual satisfaction or realization, is to also benefit all other beings. So because of that, we have the spiritual practitioner has a lot of challenges or transformation to take place. So those shortcomings, when before the transformation successfully turn out, you have all the difficulties because of that. And my personal experience was I was very shy. I reluctant to sit in front of others and talk to others. So my teacher was very good at, countering that. So, not very long after my ordination, I was asked to go to the front and direct people how to pray and how to do the ceremonies. And that was a terrifying experience. And I remember, I think if the group is only 20 or 30, I was fine. But one time, it was like the biggest Dharma event of the year, happening somewhere close to Chinese New Year. And we had over 1,000 people attending that activities. And I was so frightened. So I had something, I kind of excused myself when finding something, I hide myself, and so I refused to come out. So, and of course that was my failure experience, but I was struggling with that. So, but after 3 days, when the people, present, the number of people become less, then I have the confidence to come out. And that was how I was struggling.
我是不是会死掉一些东西？就是有一个 point， 真的。
Yeah, that's my challenge. Yeah.
Do you want to tell us?
又关掉了。
你看它白色。
Both Sister Jendi and I were teachers before we entered the monastery, and our master specially emphasized for these teachers, you have to receive more training, because she thought teachers is some kind of people harder to educate. So she liked to do more scolding, blaming, and some very strange words to us. And that's really hard for us to understand. So every time when you receive such kind of treatment, you just did not understand what happened. Others will be fine, but for us, it's just so hard. But after maybe 1 year, I began to think I want to run away. That's enough. It's really enough. But that night, I began to think about why I am here. Am I here for my master, or was I here for Dharma? What's the real purpose for me? And I began to think about once more, many times. And to the second day in the morning, I realized I was not here for this master. Even she is really my master, and she helped me a lot. But I was not here for her. I was for Dharma. So I began to understand whatever she did to me, I would not go away. I just want to stay here and to see what happened. And after that, there is no hurt for me. So that's 30 years passed, but I still think that's a very good decision for me to realize why I am here. Okay, and the second time is when we began larger for our community, like here, more sisters coming to the community, and we begin to think how to expand our educational events. So we began to think we need to send someone to other country, like Sister Jendi, and also myself. But in the beginning, I did not include myself. I just say someone will go to other country, but not me. Mm-hmm. But after 2 years, no one wanted to go out. And the master say, maybe you should go. And I said, no, I don't. That is in 1987. Then in 1989. And the master said again, you should go. And it seems to be no choice. I said, okay, I go. Then I was reluctant. I really don't want to leave my community, but it seemed to be no choice. So finally, I said, okay, I will go to USA to study, to help with our community. Then went to the airport. I began to cry, and cry loudly. And and then boarding, I still crying. Then a gentleman sit beside me, and he was so frightened because there was a line beside him and crying all the way from Taipei to Seattle, all the way, because I really don't want to leave my community. But after that, I spent a lot of time in Seattle, then went to Wisconsin, because gradually I understand I'm not here for study only for myself, because the whole community needs someone to study something different to help with our educational like a study or research or other expansion. So I know I'm not here only for myself. I represent many sisters to be here, and I use my eyes and to help with my sisters in Taiwan. So I report everything I met here, I study here, and what happened here, and to tell them what I have learned from the USA education and what I have learned that would be helpful to them. I think that's a very special experience because I decided to be a monastic. So I think that's the way I entered the monastery. And the school is over, everything is over. So I donated everything to the library, even my dictionary. But after that, I have to collect everything from the library, then went to the USA. But that's the change of mind. When you think about you're representing some people from your community, not only for yourself, you can do something very different, and you try to make yourself very different. I think it's that kind of transformation. But the transformation is because you begin to think of what is really bodhicitta. Bodhicitta, yeah. That's the bodhicitta for my mind. And that kind of transformation needs a lot of years to transform one. Okay, that's my story.
Yeah, so my story is kind of similar too. My teacher told me to do a lot of things I didn't want to do. I got sent to Italy to work there when I was a baby nun, and then I got sent again, and then I had to go here and there and do all these things I didn't want to do. But I did them because my teacher said so, and you're supposed to follow your teacher's advice. And I trusted my teacher, but I didn't understand why I was being told to do all these things that I didn't want to do. And then when I would come back to see my teacher, after going through all these difficulties doing all these things, I kind of wanted a pat on the back and some sympathy, and a little praise wouldn't have been bad. And my teacher would just ignore me, and then sometimes I would be really, really upset about something and feel like I'm not practicing well, and or I have this important decision to make, and I need to see my teacher, and then the attendant tells me he's too busy, he can't see you, and it's like, but I need to see him, this is life and death, and and I couldn't get in to see my teacher. or I get in and I tell my whole story, and and then my teacher looks at me and says, "Then?" And I cried a lot too. Like, oh. And it took me years to realize. I stuck around because I knew somehow that I trusted my teacher's intention, and I knew somehow that the problem was within me, And I must have made prayers in a previous life to be able to stick around, because otherwise sometimes it was just too painful. But I stuck around, and eventually I learned that this was my teacher's way of training me and of making me strong inside and of making me capable of dealing with my own problems, instead of always having to run to him or run to somebody else in tears, please help me, to learn to sit and think clearly and to work with my own mind and to come to a reasonable conclusion, to grow up, basically, And I also had to realize that it was not my teacher's job to meet my emotional needs. My teacher's job was to lead me to awakening, and I was expecting the wrong thing from them, And so by not getting it, that's what made me really grow up a lot. But it was hard.
I'm not a monastic.
Yet.
No. I have.
Future lifetime.
Yeah, I'll be a Catholic this lifetime and a Buddhist next lifetime. I have a wife and 2 wonderful little girls. And so my question is, what is your advice to me as a father and a husband for being a good example of the Dharma, and how do I spread the Dharma within my family? I think that's it.
This is the last question. Just so people know we'll see how the time goes.
I don't know how to answer your question, but I will try my way. I said my mom influenced me a lot, and I see my mom did a lot of improvement in her life. What she did not get, she makes sure her children get it. So she did not get equal opportunity to education. She makes sure all of her 8 kids were educated, and she bring her children to have a religion she thinks is less superstitious. But from my observation, I think if my mom, when she gave us so much opportunity to get education, but she will get irritated when we have different opinion, and that puzzles me a lot. And I think it's when I was older, I realized because she makes such a contribution, revolutionized effort to make sure something positive happen to her children. So when her children was talking back or having different opinion, that was very hurtful, disrespectful in her thinking. But when she provide education to her children, the children naturally will have independent critical thinking. It's not out of disrespect, but my mom will feel hurt. So So in a way, I kind of feel parenthood. If you become a parent just to avoid what your parents have done wrong, and you try to make sure, correct their wrong, and so you provide the good, positive opportunity or whatever to your children. And I think that is, as I see it, is kind of problematic, because a parent, if a parent have like a whole view of Buddhism, so you know the process of a person growing, and you provide a proper education, proper assistance to different needs into different stages, that'll be much better. So in a way, being a parent, I don't know if there's a right answer, but my thinking is, if you have a bigger view of Buddhism, that you become a better person, and you are able to adjust yourself according to your kids' needs.
So you mean a Dharma education?
Dharma education is a general thing. When you apply the Dharma learning to whatever you do, because, for example, you are a boss, or you are a parent, or you're a husband, or you're a father, you have a right view of how become a better person in holding that, playing that particular role. You have a. It's not like I become this way because my previous boss is very bad in that way. So I'm a reactor. I just out of reaction, I become this way. But if you out of your whole view, you have the entire view, and your whatever come out will be more wholesome, more complete. That's my response. 没关系，你就拿着就好，靠近一点。
佛法里面讲哦，就是我们这一生会成为爸爸、儿子、女儿，父母、父子、父女的关系哈，这个都不是突然的，就是我们过去曾经是很有缘，那所以这一生如果是这样的一家人的关系呢，就是一个我们还要继续再结这一份善缘。那怎么结这一份善缘呢？就是我觉得佛法还是最好的哈。就是您今天就是已经在这边跟着有这么好的老师、求人老师、法师这样引导你，你好好的学习佛法，然后把你所学的佛法呢，你在你身上展现出来，就是用从你的身教中展现出来的话呢，孩子会感受得到，然后慢慢的引导孩子三归五戒。这样的话，如果孩子能够学习佛法，我相信用佛法来带领他自己，因为你没办法替他走他的路，也不能，他也不一定要，你也没办法真的是怎么样影响他，让他自己心中有佛法的法就会教导他怎么做到最好的地方去。是我想。
Okay, so the relationship between parent and kids, in a way, is you have a karmic relationship in your past. So in this life, you are related. So remember, you have to maintain this positive relationship in this life. So this relationship will not, deteriorate. So the way to prevent deterioration is by practicing Dharma. And when you practice Dharma, you through your body, speech, and mind, you can be an example to your kids. And if possible, encourage your children to learn Dharma, so eventually they will take refuge in the Dharma or even take precepts. And if you manage to help them have the Dharma seed in their mind, and the Dharma will guide them. For a long way, a long time. And that's my advice.
I taught the lay people classes, the Buddhism classes for last 3 years. And I did find some people like you ask this kind of question, how can I guide my family members to learn Dharma with me? I think that's the wish you want to make. And actually, the two sisters have provided the answers, because the Dharma is not for the knowledge or only for learning, it's for practice. When you learn Dharma about the non-self, about the condition, about the cause and effect, and about the impermanence. This kind of knowledge is not only for learning, it's used for your thought and for your practice. Like when you find your daughter doing something with her friends, it might not be so good as you want, but you have to think about why it happened. Like she went to movies and without tell you, and you might be very angry because you want the little daughter to tell you everything, because you want her safe before she is adult. But why she did not tell you? There are many reasons. One, because she forgot. The second one, maybe you will scold her or blame her, so she was afraid of telling you. So the best way is you have to think about the reason and maybe ask her why you would not tell me. And from this way, you will understand actually there are reasons for her behavior. And you did not get angry for the first moment. You began to think about what kind of conditions to make this kind of event. And that's the first thing when we meet anything happen. And that's the teaching from Buddha. Because Buddha told us everything happened because of condition, different condition, yuanqi in Chinese. So I find so many adult students in my class, when they get back to their family, they begin to hold at the first moment, not get angry, but just so think about why this happened. Then be patient to ask of wife, to ask the daughter, the boy, and the co-workers, why you will do these things. What's the reason for you? And I think that when you do this kind of thing, everything will change so differently. And not because you change, that's because Dharma happened to your mind. So you can be more patiently and to think about the whole thing, just like the Sister Jendi said. And when you change yourself like this way, little by little, your family members will find that the date is different. Because Daddy went to the Buddhist class and more patiently and more tolerance and want to talk with me more and listen to me more. And what's that? That's the Dharma happened to you. Then they will want to go with you to the Dharma class. And the second thing, I think you should invite your daughters to the volunteer work here. Every time when you bring your children to the volunteer work, you don't need to say a lot. They come here. They do work with other people. They learn Buddhism very, very easy. You don't have to say a lot. And I find that when the small children go to the temple, they change a lot. And gradually, they want to say, I want to bow to Buddha. You don't need to say to her, she wanted to bow to Buddha because she watched all the people bow to Buddha. They want to do the same thing. Okay.
Yeah, I'll just add a little bit. I think what you're doing, bringing the girls and also your wife to the Dharma classes is really good, because then it becomes a family experience. It's not dad leaving the family to do it. It's everybody going together. And so the kids feel really involved in it and, making a connection with it. And then I think practicing the Dharma yourself, like the others said, you model it through your own behavior, and then explaining things to them, how to think when they have difficulties, or teach them some of the simple rituals. Kids like to learn that kind of stuff. And like they said, keep really good communication.
They cried when I told them they couldn't come with me.
We can write a card for them. Yeah. Make a card, Venerable Samten, and we'll all sign it and send it to them.
It would be wonderful.
Yeah.
And take me in better clothes now so that you can get to the airport.
Okay.